Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today it's time for yet another Celtic transfer talk. For a fairly quiet window, we've managed to get a few of these out there. I don't know how I do it, but here we are, and a couple of exciting transfer developments today. We're going to talk about all of that as we wait for Nicholas Kuhn to be officially announced as a Celtic player. It's a busy Tuesday at Celtic Football Club, so without further ado, let's talk about that. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It'd be much appreciated. We're trying to get to 50,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so help us do that by hitting those buttons down below. Also, the weekly live streams, or sometimes 2 a week at this point when there's no much to talk about. Don't worry, they'll be back sometime soon. If you want it, let me know and we'll get one sorted. But today we have a video with some news, which is the bread and butter of the channel. Thank God for that. Let's start very quickly with the Nicholas Kuhn update. I'm not going to speak an awful lot about him, but he is in Glasgow, and by the time this video is up tonight, he might officially be a Celtic player. We might have the graphics, we might have the announcement that he is signed for Celtic. We're still awaiting that, but he did land in Glasgow last night. He was pictured, well, he wasn't pictured. I think it was his agent and his representatives or whatnot that was pictured as he was whisked away into a car to go and complete his medical and the finalisation of the contract. So today we could get the official announcement that he is a Celtic player. Of course, he's signing for that $3+ million. With the add-ons and all such that are included. So yeah, that's the update on him. We've already spoke enough about Nicholas Kuhn, so it's time to move on, isn't it? I think you're all a bit tired of hearing about Nicholas Kuhn. We know he's basically a Celtic player. God forbid that nothing goes wrong, touch wood. But hopefully that announcement will be today. We have been crying out for a left back, and we have some news about a left back. We've got rid of one. Adam Montgomery has left Celtic. He is away out on loan for the second half of the season. Of course, we recalled him from his loan to Fleetwood Town, but we've loaned him right back out somewhere closer to home. He's joined Motherwell for the second half of the season, so good luck to Adam Montgomery. I hope for all the best over there, and hopefully he gets some game time, some minutes in his legs. Someone who obviously has spent some time away, and I don't know where his Celtic career really lies, but Motherwell, good place for him to go, good place for him to develop, a lot closer to home as we've said, and hopefully all the best to him. You want the serious talk about left backs now, don't you? You want to know what the headline's all about, and you want to know the talk surrounding a certain Owen Beck, who over the past 24 to 48 hours has been in everybody's mouths. That sounds wrong. He's been on everybody's like that. Still doesn't sound right either, does it? We're all talking about Owen Beck. He has been the subject to many conversations online over the past couple of days as his name has grew even kind of closer to Celtic, really. It seems that everybody thinks he's coming here. I honestly didn't see where it was coming from. I thought his name was just thrown out for the sake of it, you know, but apparently he's looking like a very realistic target for Celtic in this January window, subject to a couple of conditions which could stop the move from happening. However, it's nice to see us get linked with a left back. It's nice to see us get linked with a left back who is pretty good, from evidence up here in the Scottish Premiership firsthand. So why don't we talk about Owen Beck for a minute? Where have the rumours come from? How realistic are they? And have Celtic found their most ideal left back option in this window? This was the Football Scotland article which has kind of dived into the rumours linking him with Celtic. Owen Beck, Celtic transfer chance as Liverpool hold aces amid lone hopes. The fullback has been on the Hoops radar since October time. The article goes on to say that Football Scotland understands the league leaders are still keen on a potential move for the player, but they'll have to wait for any decision to be made by Liverpool when their top 2 defenders on that flank, Andy Robertson and Kostas Tsimikas, return to training towards the end of January. This means that Celtic face a waiting game to discover whether or not Liverpool will allow him to head back to the Scottish Premiership after his impressive stint with Dundee before he was recalled. So of course Liverpool in a bit of an injury crisis at the left back position. Andy Robertson and Kostas Tsimikas both out injured. Robertson a bit more lengthier than Tsimikas. He's been out for a while now. And amid all of that, Liverpool recalled Owen Beck from his as Football Scotland put it, very impressive loan stint at Dundee. He was someone who was catching the eye of everyone up here in the opening half of the season. He was very good for Dundee. 2 goals and 2 assists in his time with the club from that left-back position, of course. And, you know, apparently Celtic have been looking at him from October time. And I don't think it's just Celtic, the club, that have been looking at him from October time. I think he's caught the eye of most viewers of the Scottish Premiership this season. If you're one of the guys out there, or one of the ladies as well, who watch the Scottish Premiership week in, week out, and you watch Sports Scene and you watch all the games, and it's not just Celtic you focus on, then you will know that Owen Beck has been one of the most impressive players in the league this season. And obviously coming through the Liverpool Youth Academy, he's someone who has, you know, a little bit of potential there and probably had a ceiling that was thought of quite highly. Dundee is obviously the loan move where, you know, you get sent there and is that you finding your level? Is that it? No, I think this is a player who answered that question very, very quickly and very bluntly in saying, my level is above that. He is someone who's destined for bigger things than Dundee. And I mean that with all due respect to the Dundonians. But in all honesty, I think he's someone who proved he can be playing for a Celtic, for a Rangers. Apparently Rangers have looked at the possibility of moving for Owen Beck as well. We are not the only side interested. But for someone who adapted pretty well to the Scottish Premiership and playing for a newly promoted side, you've got to remember that. It's a Dundee side who I think have, number one, exceeded expectations coming up to the top flight, but also played pretty well. And he's played really well in that side. Probably their best player in the opening 6 months of the season. So you're looking at somebody who's ready to play in the Scottish Premiership and somebody who is more than good enough to play in the Scottish Premiership. Put him in a team like Celtic, how much better does he get? Because he's been playing his whole youth career in a Liverpool side with gifted young players. He's been, you know, looked at by Jurgen Klopp as a serious possibility of a player at Liverpool in a senior shirt. There's obviously talent there, so you put him in a side with Celtic players, you're looking at a pretty good option for a left back, and he's someone who, if you go and judge it off the online reaction, people are very keen on it. People want this to be the move that Celtic go for. Is it one that Celtic are going to be patient with? That's the question. Will they wait? Obviously, they need to wait on that return of Robertson and Tsimikas, which isn't been said it's going to be till the end of January, which is a bit of a wait for Celtic, a bit annoying, of course, but is it worth that wait? We only have 2 games, I think, before the window shuts, maybe 3. I know we have Bucky Fisher in the Cup, of course, where there's no desperate need for a new left back. We've got Ross County at Celtic Park in the league, and then I think the window shuts. I might be mistaken, but 2 or 3 games we can survive, but is it worth holding on to the hope of getting Owen Beck by the end of the window, and then you don't get him, and then you're left without a new left back? Is it the end of the world? But is it worth it? You know, there's all these questions you've got to ask. I would love us to sign Owen Beck. Now, the possibility, everybody's going to ask, what's the possibility of us signing him permanently? God knows. I don't know yet. I mean, Transfermarkt have him valued at 600 grand. That is not going to be the case. He's not going to be valued at 600 grand. If he comes to Celtic and plays well for 6 months, his value is going to be more than that. You're talking at least probably double or triple that, in fact. So you're obviously hoping for him to come in to play football and justify a valuation of what Liverpool would expect us to pay for the player should the time come as a permanent signing. But first things first, you need to get him into the club. He's not a Celtic player yet. We don't know if he will be a Celtic player, so there's no point of thinking about a permanent basis yet. I think there's going to be a few people who complain about the fact that he's coming in on a loan deal if we do sign him. Like, that's not the answer to the problem. I think if he does come in on a loan, there's a very realistic chance we sign him. So you are looking at a long-term option. And I think he's a very good long-term option. So Celtic need to negotiate. They need to see what the script is. They need to keep, you know, chiming into the ear of the Liverpool officials and Jurgen Klopp and try their best to try and get a deal done, even with these players out injured. Get an option to buy in there. Here's a really solid long-term option to be the left back at Celtic, I think. Very impressed with what I've seen of him at Dundee. Would love to see him as a Celtic player. Here's his career in a snapshot, just to finish up, if anybody is wondering. 54 appearances for the Liverpool under-23s, 2 goals, 11 assists from left-back in those 54 games is a decent return. Of course, it is under-23s football. That's playing in, you know, the Premier League 2, for example. He did have a short stint at Bolton where he didn't really play, 9 appearances there. But in general, he's had an impressive youth career, obviously done really well at Dundee. And if you're playing for the Youth Academy of Liverpool, one of the biggest clubs in world football, you've got to have some talent there. So we'll keep watching this one. it is quite exciting because I like the thought of Owen Beck coming to Celtic, but they need to, still do their work. Celtic as a club, the scouting team and all the rest of it. They need to go out and look. They need to evaluate all their options at left back. You don't jump in two-footed to the first option, the easiest option, which this could be for Celtic if it's a loan deal. Don't jump in two-footed to it. Do your due diligence. I'm stuttering all over the place today. Apologies. Do your due diligence. Do the work properly and scout the right players. On that note, he's not the only Liverpool player that we have been linked with inside the past couple of days. Kieran Kelleher, who we spoke about yesterday, his name is still being linked with the club. Celtic still looking at the possibility of trying to land him, not in this transfer window, but in the summer. And apparently Liverpool are preparing for that possibility. There has been talk that Liverpool are looking at maybe bringing in the Sunderland goalkeeper Patterson in case Kelleher decides to leave, in case he goes to... All the articles are saying in case he goes to Celtic. Take everything with a pinch of salt. That means in case he goes anywhere. I still think that it would be a massive, massive task for Celtic to go and try and land a keeper like Kieran Kelleher. I would love it to happen and I would contribute to the cause if I could, but... just watch. If you want more of a deep dive on the Kieran Kelleher stuff and the whole story, we essentially covered it all in yesterday's video, so go and check that out if you want to hear everything on the Kieran Kelleher stuff, his name getting thrown about. I still think it's a tad unrealistic for Celtic. I don't mean to be a negative Nancy, I don't want to put a damp squib on all of your hopes and dreams that he's Celtic's next #1. I just think that until there's something there that's more concrete, it's maybe a step too far for Celtic. But who knows? We'll watch how it develops. Check out yesterday's video. Right, that does it for today. Kind of a fast-paced one again, so apologies if you're struggling to keep up. But that is the big story today. Owen Beck being linked with Celtic. Could he be Celtic's next left back? We'll wait and see. All the updates, all the news as it comes will be right here on the channel. So make sure to hit like and subscribe so you can keep up with that. As for me, that's it today. Like and subscribe, which I've already said. And I'll see you all next time.